It's time to talk a little baseball. How about that? Let me get my microphone set up here. And yeah, we can talk a little baseball and we can have some fun here. Right? Okay. All right. So this is Phil Dixon with another edition of This Day in Black Baseball History. And this is, let me get myself straight. I just look all crooked and everything. This is the February 24th, 2026 edition of This Day in Black Baseball History, where the conversation never stops. So let's jump right in here and let's begin talking about some baseball. Let's go back to February the 24th, 1949. And by the way, if you like what's going on here, by all means, subscribe. I'm getting ready to start push for that 700, guys. We're going to push real hard. We're going to get there too. All right. So, okay. So let's go to February 24th, 1949. Branch Rickey announced the signing of James Edward Pendleton. Probably remember him. He actually made it up to the National League. He was signed from the Chicago American Giants and signed to a St. Paul contract, St. Paul Saints contract. And he was the 11th African American player signed by the Brooklyn Dodgers. Okay, I don't know if you knew that. The 11th player signed by the Brooklyn Dodgers, of course, the general manager, Branch Rickey. Now, here's a trivia question for you. If you're ready for some trivia, there's only one team at that particular time who had signed more black players than the Brooklyn team. Anybody want to take a guess at that? I'll count to five and I'll tell you the answer. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It was the Cleveland Indians. Yeah. One of these days I'll go through the whole list of all 11 of the Dodgers and all the number of the Cleveland Indians. And of course, we know about some of the big names in there, but not all the names. So when you think about the Dodgers, you're going to know about Jackie Robinson or Roy Campanella. You're going to know about Dan Bankhead. So, you'll know some guys like that. And the same thing with the Cleveland Indians. You're going to know about Satchel Paige and you're going to know about Larry Doby, of course. But there are more. And this is up through 1950. So, all right. So let's keep it going here. And let's see. We're going to go up. That was up through 1949. Now we're going to go to 1950. So here we go. February 24th, 1950. And I see lots of people joining. Guys, if you like what I'm doing here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and come on back and see me again. All right. Somebody says hello. Let me know where you're watching the broadcast from. That's always interesting for me. And if you've come here before, you've heard my broadcast before, hit a couple of hearts so I'll know that you're a repeat customer, so to speak. And that means maybe I'm doing something right here, okay? So, all right, so we're going to go to February 24th, 1950, and an announcement. Thank you very much. Announcement in the Alabama Tribune. Homer Goose Curry, age 51, manager of the Memphis Red Sox, and a guy by the name of Dr. Noble R. Frisbee announced the opening of Delta Negro Baseball School. And it will be the first ever school for aspiring young African-American baseball players. And they were kind of doing a spin-off of Ray Eldone's baseball camp that he would have in Hot Springs, Arkansas. So that's going to be a new thing coming out in 1950. And Curry said, we want to keep the assembling line of stars moving up, not only to the Negro Leagues, but also to organized baseball. That's the kind of interesting phrase that's here when they said organized baseball, because when you say organized baseball and you're meaning like the American National or the minor leagues, it's almost saying, what's the opposite of organized? It's got to be unorganized. So basically saying the Negro League was unorganized, and that's not even the case. So I always take caution when using the word organized baseball. All right. So I just want to let you know, if you ever read any of my books, you will see that certain terms I don't use, and I don't use them for specific reasons. All right. So anyway, we got a few people joining. Yeah, guys, if you like what I'm doing, go ahead and hit that subscription button and keep on coming back, because I have lots of information I can give you. I've been in this baseball realm as a historian for over 46 years. This is the 46th year. So you can just imagine the people that I've met. Somebody says, I was glad I was able to join. Just showed my students pride and perseverance. They loved it. All right, that's a good one. I remember that. That is good that you're showing them those type of videos. Hey, by the way, I just got permission back in 1986. The first ever documentary done on John Buck O'Neill was done by me right after the World Series. Royals won the World Series in 1985, and me and another guy got together and we did the first ever documentary on John Buck O'Neill. And we've never released it to the greater public. However, I just got um, uh, the okay to release that. And so we're going to package it. And guys, you will be seeing Buck O'Neill in a way you've not seen him before. All right. So we're going to go reach way back. All right. So this is something so old, it's new. All right. So anybody says, all right. So anybody said, wow, can't wait. Thank you very much. All right. Have to go. Sorry. No, that's okay. That's okay. I understand, people can't stay in long, but if you stay just for a moment, maybe you pick up one fact. That's cool. But I understand people's schedules, and I understand my schedule. It's a sacrifice to come on here every night, I'll tell you, and do this history. So let me keep it going here. Okay, so February 24th, 1951, we're going to jump up there. The Pittsburgh Courier announced that Booker T. McDaniel of the Los Angeles Angels of the Pacific Coast League had been demoted to a lower classification in the Western League with Des Moines. And he had been with the Pacific Coast League for 2 years. And they said that McDaniel did not live up to promise. And he was the first African-American player in the Pacific Coast. Actually, no, he was not in the Pacific Coast League, but in the on the Angels roster. Now, what's interesting is Jack died in my hometown, Kansas City, Kansas. And I played baseball in Kansas City, Kansas, and he was around that park. Actually, he did a little pitching after baseball. Now, interesting thing, now, you got to learn all kinds of stuff by going online and looking up a bio. But here's one thing you won't get. Did you know that he used to work at one of the grain elevator factories? And there was a bunch of those around Kansas City, Kansas. I mean, we're Kansas, wheat, you get all that, right? So anyway, long story short, Booker used to buy a new car every year. Yep, he lived off of 10th Street. He'd buy a new car every year. And I have a picture. I've never released this picture of him standing with I think it's like a 65 or a 66 Pontiac. And there are two guys standing there giving him the key to the car. And the reason they were doing that is because he bought a new car every year. This is even after he left the Pacific Coast League. So that's a little spin on Booker McDaniel that you won't get anywhere else. Just know that this guy lived in my hometown. And of course, he passed away, I think, at the St. Margaret's Hospital, if I'm correct. And my grandfather passed away there as well. And that building is still there. That hospital is still there. And that's Booker T. McDaniels. And I interviewed his brother, and I coached one of his brother's grandsons is a baseball coach. And this has been 30 years ago. So, all right then. Matter of fact, on that same team, I had Gene Collins' younger brother. He also was on that team. So I had one of the Monarchs pitchers' younger brother and one of the Monarchs pitchers' nephews playing for me. How about that? All right, so we're going to go. We got a couple of more here. February 24th, 1952, Ray Neal, age 26, signed a Texas League contract with the Dallas Eagles, thus becoming the first black player in the 64-year history of the Texas League to sign a contract. And Neal reportedly, now this is according to the statistics they gave at that time. I would love to match those statistics. Well, actually, they haven't done the 1952 season, but it would be interesting to see what they have online. But this is the statistics they signed him with, okay? This is what they signed him with. They said that he had hit 346 in the Negro American League with the Indianapolis Clowns. And they said he led the league with 77 runs scored and in base hits with 119. And his other stats included 87 games played, 4 triples, 3 home runs, 14 stolen bases, and 62 runs driven in. Man, I'm tell you what, if you can get 62 runs driven in off of 19 hits, now maybe you had a few sacrifice flies or maybe you had a squeeze play or something like that. But if you can get 62 runs batted in off of 119 hits, I want to sign you up too. So that's kind of interesting feat. I don't know if that's ever been done. I'm gonna have to look that one up. All right. So anyway, yeah. So I don't know how much you know about Ray Neal, but I don't know if he actually made good. But there were some other players who did make good in the Texas League, and Willie Brown tore the Texas League to pieces. Man, I'm telling you. And yeah, he just came down there and just tore the place up. But he played good ball wherever he went. So guys, if you're joining here, just come on in and. Yeah, I'm almost finished here. Just got just a couple more things I just want to run over. And this is Phil Dixon's This Day in Black Baseball History, where we talk intelligent baseball. And I talk about people that I met in my 40 some odd years of being a baseball historian. And guess what? You never know who I met or their families. That's another thing as well. So, and I know we're going to go to this next one. How about this one? February 24th, 1956, Hall of Fame infielder Eddie Clarence Murray is born in Los Angeles, California. And this guy hit a total of 504 home runs for 5 different major league teams. Can you name them, guys? Can you name all the teams? I know right off the bat, I know the Orioles and I know the Dodgers right off the bat. Let's see. Who else did he play for? Somebody hit that real quick. I know I got some baseball fans in here. Who else did Eddie Murray play for? Anybody? So I think I got the Dodgers and the Orioles. Anybody else can add anything to that? All right then. Well, we'll keep it going. If you can, just pop it in there, okay? Okay, somebody said Cleveland. Okay, Cleveland. So we got 3. So we got 5 teams. So 5 different major league teams. So we're missing 3 of those teams. Not sure which one. So I'm going to have to go back and check. 504 home runs. I actually had a chance to meet Eddie Murray. Interesting thing, the Chet Brewer had a team out in California called the Chet Brewer Rookies. And of course, that's the team that produced people like Doc Ellis, Enos Cabello, Reggie Smith, who was the first professional baseball player I ever met. Bob Watson was on that team. Interviewed Bob. And how about this? Their bat boy was Eddie Murray. And I had a chance to ask Eddie Murray about that, and it was interesting what he told me. But yeah, Eddie Murray was the bat boy for Chet Brewer's team with all those big leaguers. And then he comes up and actually hits more home runs than all of those guys probably combined. I don't know if they all combined equal to 504 home runs, but he was a bad boy. But see, you grew up in communities where baseball was played. I know me. I used to go down to the park all the time and watch the men's team and hang around. And then when I got old enough, I would go to Municipal Stadium and I would wait till the ball game was over and then wait for the players to come out and carry their luggage to the car, just anything, just so you could say that you met the player, right? So, but I'm here. I'm here today because I could touch and agree with those players because they were all over my community. And then once again, when I found my way to the Major League Park, you could really reach out and touch these people back then. A little bit different now for young people going up. These guys are multi-million-dollar athletes, and man, sometimes you just can't get that close. All right. So I have one more, and this guy just recently passed away. His name was George Altman, and on February 24th, 1959, he married Rachel Maria Jones. And I always like to squeeze in some of these ball players and their wives' names because when it comes to the black athlete, guys, and this is one of the things, if you look at my work like the Negro Baseball Leagues of Photographic History, you will see ball players' wives in that book. You'll see them with their family, with their children. And one of the things that I wanted to do was to bring real life to these black baseball players because most of the time when I was growing up, if it was a black ball player that was featured, rarely did we see his family. You know, you might see the family, like if they have like, what they used to call that, Father and Son Day, or I don't know what they probably had another name for it, and they would bring out the kids, right? But you didn't see them very often, and we certainly didn't know them. And then, but at some point, certain ball players would get their wives would get recognition. I remember Cookie Rojas for some reason. This was when I was following Cookie Rojas as a kid, and he came to the Royals. And I always thought this was interesting because he went by Cookie Rojas, and his wife was Candy Rojas. And so Cookie and Candy Rojas. So that kind of stuck in my head. So okay, so we find out the Angels. The Angels not. Let's see who we got. The guy knows more than a book. Okay. Well, I've written a few books, so and I have a couple of books still in me though. So, matter of fact, I'm working right now, and I'm trying to edit uh, a revised edition of my 1905 Philadelphia Giants book, which I think you're going to really enjoy. And so, and then also there's a through Saber, my book on the 1931 Homestead Grays. They're going to actually put out a book, and they're waiting right now for me to write the foreword on their version of the 1931 Homestead Grays, which they tried to take my book and go beyond it. And that's going to take a little bit. I don't know if you ever seen that book, but in my book, I take a team and I go every game, day by day by day. I talk about the opponents, and I see, because I don't believe that just the games in the league tell you about the player. I think for to really know who these guys were, you have to follow them every single game, because you'd be surprised. Some of these guys, they'd have hitting streaks that would just, be 20, 30 games. And because they only played so many league games, you never saw that they were still hitting, they were still playing, they were still producing. And so I wanted to do that. So, guys, so this kind of concludes my broadcast tonight. I do want to thank everybody for joining, and thank you very much for Cleveland. We got Cleveland, Oakland, Baltimore, California, and do we get a fifth one? I don't know if we got the fifth one or not, for Eddie Murray. I don't know. Have anybody had a chance to meet Eddie Murray? I haven't. Actually, I may post a picture that I have with him, and and being in Kansas City, where the Negro League Baseball Museum is, when they have events, a lot of these guys would come through. Mets. Okay, all right. So, hey, I don't know if I've ever shared. Have I ever showed you a story about Sherman Roadblock Jones, who pitched for the 1962 Mets? He was my first baseball coach, Sherman Roadblock Jones. He's featured in the 1961 Top Set as a San Francisco Giant. And later on, he wore the Cincinnati Reds uniform, but he came up in the 1962 Mets. But I don't think he's on a card for the 62 Mets, but he definitely is on that 61 Topps baseball card with the Giants. So he was my first baseball coach, and I learned a lot from him. He was a sheriff here in Wyandotte County, hey, same county where Booker McDaniel lived, and so he was a sheriff here, and just a great guy. He was originally, I think, out of North Carolina, and of course he passed away here in Kansas City, Kansas. Sherman Roadblock Jones. Look him up, guys. All this baseball history I'm not making up. I've had the pleasure of living this history, and man, I tell you, it's been truly amazing. So I guess that does it for me tonight. Hey, if you like what's going on here, guys, and you get a chance to listen from time to time, be sure and subscribe. And I don't, tonight I was working on some things with baseball, trying to update a book and everything. So I never really got a chance to look at any politics. And guys, hey, it's almost baseball season. That's all I know. And so I'm having a great time with baseball. So I see Bob Poets coming in here, and Paul Julian. And I don't. So Bob, are you a member of the Society for American Baseball Researchers? I know Julian is. And I may see you up in, if you're going to get there this year, Julian, I may see you in Memphis this year for the Jerry Malloy. I've got a pretty active summer, but I may be able to get down there. Last year I was booked somewhere else and couldn't get to Louisville. So hopefully things will work out. Bob Poet, not a Sabre member. Bob, you would be a good Sabre member. You follow baseball really closely, and I think you would be great and you would meet some good guys. And if you ever get a chance to come to a conference, man, they would love to have you. So, all right. So, your coach was tall, 6'4", awesome. Yeah. Hey, at that particular time, I was the tallest one probably in my sixth grade. I was 5'11" in the sixth grade, so he wasn't too far ahead of me. But yeah, Sherman Roadblock Jones. Yeah, he was a good one, man. I'm telling you. But great coach, and we learned a lot from him. And because of that, I'm still here. And I'm still here talking about baseball because I was energized by people who love baseball. So, guys, that kind of ends the broadcast for tonight. I'm trying to think if there's anything, any house cleaning thing. Oh, well, I'm almost going to tell you that be sure and subscribe. That's the most important thing. So we can keep this conversation going. I'm getting ready to start pushing toward that 700 subscriber, and we'll see what happens, right? So just want to thank everybody, and I'll be back tomorrow. And let's see, what do I have on tap for tomorrow? Got something on Rap Dixon, yeah. Joe Williams, Smokey Joe Williams, you heard of him? Cyclone Joe. Um, I would talk about him tomorrow, and I got something on Monty Irvin tomorrow, and about five other surprises that you wouldn't expect. And that's kind of what I do here is just keep delivering this baseball. But right now, I think I'm just rambling right now. So I don't like to ramble because I don't like to ramble because no telling what I might say. I may think of something, and then all of a sudden, here I go. I got another 5 minutes of broadcast time. But what I do know, though, is, guys, I appreciate everybody who's been with me all the way since last June, and it's just been remarkable. It's just been remarkable, and I've been able to recall a lot of stories that I hadn't really talked about in a long time. Sometimes you just start talking, you're mentioning players, and you start thinking about things. I will tell you when I talk about Joe Williams tomorrow, I was talking to Freddie Patek. You remember Freddie Patek? You talk about uh, Roadblock Jones being 6'4". Well, I think Freddie Patek was 5'4". And I was talking to Patek one time, and he is from the same hometown as Joe Williams. Did you know that? Yeah, Freddie Patek is. And I didn't know that either till Freddie told me. And Freddie Patek, he came to the Royals from the Pittsburgh Pirates, man. The guy had a cannon for an arm, stole a lot of bases. He was a good stolen base guy for us here in Kansas City, the early years of the Royals. And they liked him so well and he liked the city so well that when he retired, he stayed in Kansas City. And he is still here. And his grandson was playing college baseball. And I went to see his grandson play because I had run into his grandson at a college over around St. Joseph, Missouri. And they said, hey, that they're going to be coming down to play against Kansas City, Kansas Community College, which is my old alma mater. And so I said, okay, I'm going to come and see you guys. So I go down there, and who's there? Freddie Patek, his grandfather, is there to watch him. So I ended up having more fun with Freddie, but it was because of his grandson that I even came to the game. So, guys, that does it for me. Thank everybody for joining, and I'll see you tomorrow, and we'll have a great time, and I'm going to dig up some interesting facts. Maybe we'll find some things that people are not talking about, some men that need to get some recognition, and we'll see if we can't give them some right here on this broadcast. So thank you, guys. Have a nice evening, and I'll see you real soon. If those guys who are still snowed in the east, this is still a good warm place you can come and get some baseball information. All right. Have a nice evening, bye. This is Phil Dixon with another edition of This Day in Black Baseball History. This has been the September 24th, 2026 edition of this ongoing conversation.